Hey guys, it's Allie with Cruise Blog. Today we're going to be sharing 10 reasons to get off your ship as early as possible on disembarkation day. Let's get into it. The worst part about any vacation is when it's over and realizing that reality is right around the corner. It's hard not to get a little bit upset when you think about returning to work or school, cooking your own meals, and having to clean your house. Unfortunately, your cruise will come to an end, but you'll return home with precious memories to share with others. You may even be planning another cruise before your current one ends. Before you can get home, though, you have to disembark the ship one final time. About halfway through your cruise, you'll be given information regarding disembarkation, and you're asked to fill out a form requesting your departure information. You'll then be given luggage tags to correspond with your given disembarkation time. Alternatively, you can opt to participate in the self-assisted disembarkation, which means that you can be among one of the first people to get off the ship. Instead of leaving around 8 or 9 a.m., this usually means that your departure will be closer to 7 a.m. The catch is that you'll have to carry your luggage off by yourself. Despite ending your vacation a little bit earlier and wheeling your own suitcase, here are 10 reasons why you should get off the ship as early as possible. So first, what is the difference between regular and self-disembarkation? Those who don't want to have to worry about the hassle of carrying their own luggage off the ship will want to utilize the regular disembarkation, in which you receive a luggage tag that corresponds to a specific departure time, and you'll leave your suitcase outside of your cabin the night before. When your luggage tag group is called the next morning, you'll be able to get off the ship, collect your bags, get your documents checked, and then be on your way. If you're opting for this method, be sure that you do not pack your passport, cruise card, your medications, or other valuables in your luggage. It's best to keep those things on your person at all times. With self-disembarkation, you will not be given any luggage tags, and you'll be responsible for transporting your bags off the ship. If you have larger bags, you may not want to lug them off the ship, down the gangway, and through the cruise terminal. You do, however, have flexibility in when you get off. You can either get off first thing, or you can hang around the ship a little bit if you're trying to kill time before heading to the airport. Next, there is little to do on disembarkation day. No, you will not be able to go for a morning swim before getting off the ship. Other than grabbing a bite to eat for breakfast, you will not find any of the fun activities are open on disembarkation day. The next set of passengers will begin to board shortly after everyone from your cruise is off. It's all hands on deck to get the ship ready for the next group while assisting with disembarkation, so the crew members are unable to dedicate any time to entertaining you. Even though the main dining room is usually open, it's best to skip it and just head to the buffet. While it probably will be crowded, you will be able to grab something quick to eat, return to your stateroom to grab your luggage, and get off the ship as early as you can. Lingering over breakfast in the main dining room will just hold you on the ship a little bit longer. Another reason is you'll be off the ship before you have to vacate your stateroom. On disembarkation morning, you'll be asked to vacate your cabin by a certain time. This is to help the stateroom attendants prepare all the rooms for the next set of guests coming on. So it's a fast-paced operation. Can you imagine the manpower that it takes to turn over sometimes up to 2,800 staterooms in a couple of hours? If you get off after the requested time, you'll be stuck waiting around on the ship. Each assigned time has a dedicated lounge per se for guests to wait in until their group is called. Another reason is to avoid lines. Cruise lines have worked to perfect the disembarkation process so that lines are minimal. However, this does not mean that they're not possible. In most cases, you have a better chance at avoiding any potential lines by getting off the ship as early as you can. With fewer people getting off at the same time as you, you will also have a better chance of avoiding any jams when it comes to checking your documentation in the terminal, especially if you're traveling with a birth certificate and an official ID instead of a passport. Another reason is to hail a taxi or call a rideshare service with more ease. Quickly moving through the disembarkation process means that you will have less guests outside of the terminal too. This is advantageous if you're flying and you need to get to the airport, as you'll spend less time waiting in line for transportation. With thousands of passengers trying to get on their way, it's no surprise that the demand for cabs and rideshare services increases. Those who get off the ship later might end up waiting longer than they thought for transportation. Even if you're able to confirm a driver with a rideshare service, they might get stuck in traffic, which delays your arrival to the airport. The earlier you get off the ship, the less likely you are to encounter any wait time for a taxi or rideshare. Another reason is less time spent in the parking garage. Some people prefer to drive to the cruise port and leave their car in the parking garage. It might be because you live close enough that flying isn't sensible, or that you just would rather drive to save money, avoid the airport, etc. On disembarkation day, it is common for long lines to form in the parking garage as everyone from your ship and potentially others try to leave the port around the same time. It's like trying to exit a parking garage after a concert or a sporting event. If you're tired, the last thing you want to do is get stuck waiting in your car when you could beat the traffic and get on the road sooner. By getting off the ship early, you can also be one of the first out of the parking garage. If you're driving home, you're also able to get home earlier. While you might not want to get home and face reality, it is an unfortunate part of any vacation. Depending on how long your drive is, you may be able to get home relatively early and begin to unwind before returning to work or school. This is especially true for cruises that return on a Sunday or other weeknight. You may not have much of an adjustment period. Perhaps you'll have the energy to do a load of laundry or go grocery shopping, so you don't have to worry about those things later. If you have a pet, they'll also be thankful that you are home earlier too. Another reason is no searching for bags. One major benefit to self-assisted departure is that you don't have to worry about locating your luggage. Even though you're responsible for carrying your bags off the ship, you can walk right through the warehouse-like room to get your documents checked. And in my opinion, it helps make the disembarkation process a little less hectic. While those who are getting off the ship as late as possible will probably be able to spot their luggage, passengers disembarking with luggage tag numbers somewhere in the middle might be overwhelmed with all the people scouring the room with their tags at the same time. Another reason to get off your cruise ship early is avoiding potential lines at the airport. Airports near popular cruise ports are used to heavy airline traffic. By chance, these airports happen to be some of the busiest in the world due to their location, such as Miami, Los Angeles, Orlando, and New York. Not only do you have to think about security lines, but if you're checking a bag, you also have to account for that time too. On a recent cruise out of Miami, I waited 45 minutes to check my bag upon arriving at the airport. I had just been on a Royal Caribbean cruise. There were Carnival and Norwegian passengers in the same line. It's important to remember that the airport will be filled with guests from other ships as well as other travelers. If you're traveling during peak season, that's something to keep in mind too. Airports, for instance, see an increase in traffic during spring break and during the summer. TSA PreCheck and Clear, which are airport membership services that speed up the identification process, may reduce the time spent in security. If you don't have either of those or any other alternative priority screening, you'll want to make sure that you budget for the security line. Far too often, people have missed their flights because they were stuck in line. Also, you might be able to select an earlier flight. It's a good rule of thumb to book your return flight that departs any time after noon. You never know if your ship's clearance will be delayed or if there will be an unexpected traffic jam en route to the airport. If, though, you happen to arrive at the airport earlier than you thought, you can try to get on an earlier standby flight. You'll have more luck if you are traveling to another popular airport, as smaller regional airports have fewer daily flights. Might be worth a shot, though, especially if you wanted to avoid sitting in the airport for a long, extended period of time. However, if you are unable to catch an earlier flight, you can rest knowing that you were not rushing to get through security. You never want to be the person that's sprinting to make their flight. And also, if you have lounge access, you can hang in the airport lounge. Also, if you have a late flight, you can make the most of your day. All right, everybody, those are all of the reasons we suggest getting off your cruise ship as early as possible on disembarkation day. Personally, I like to take my own luggage off the ship because I like being in control of my luggage, but I've also had to go through the checking process for my heavy bags. Comment below why you prefer to get off the ship either early or late and whether that's something you recommend to others. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody, and be sure to like and subscribe to Cruise Blog so you can be notified every time we have a new video. Until next time, happy cruising.